you wrote an interesting column on Deadspin within the last few days about how Aaron Judge this year is just what the doctor ordered for baseball, and you think he's the guy that can capture the national imagination once again and kind of get baseball not only in the regional spotlight, but in the national spotlight, and not just in the playoffs. You want to kind of explain what your thinking is?
Yeah, you know what, Chris, when he burst onto the scene, he has all the elements that you're looking for. He's big, he's strong, he's got some swag, he's black, he's got no, I'm just saying, he's got all these things going for him, and he hits the long ball, and he's playing on the biggest stage, right? So you could either like him, Chris, even with the Yankees, you could like him or hate him. And it's good. So it's not like, oh, you got to be on board with the Yankees. No, you could actually hate the Yankees and hate Aaron Judge, and that's a good thing that you even care to hate Aaron Judge. And I think what's derailed him the last couple of years, we saw him, Chris, at the All-Star game in Miami. I was down there. I covered it. He won the home run derby. He put on an unbelievable show. And people were buzzing. Even after that performance, when he won the home run derby, his rookie year, the first rookie to ever win it outright, even the commissioner, Rob Manfred, said after that, he's the guy who could be the face of baseball.
Right.
And that's no disrespect to Mike Trout, who's a great player. There are other guys, Chris, who are better all-around players than Aaron Judge.
No doubt. Mookie Betts, Mike Trout.
There's other guys.
Cody Bellinger.
Yes, but the problem is you got to have everything wrapped up to make people want to care about you. And I think that's what he has. To me, Mike Trout is like Tim Duncan. All Tim Duncan did was win champion. Now obviously, Trout hasn't won any championships yet, Chris, but I'm talking about Tim Duncan was a great player. Nobody could say anything about him.
That's a good comparison.
If you put together 3 or 4 sound bites, people wouldn't even know what Tim Duncan sounds like.
Right.
Am I right?
No, you're right. That's a very good comparison.
So, but that's not the guy you want to lead your league. And Tim Duncan won 5 out of 6 championships. He did everything right, everything you wanted, wasn't in trouble, was a model citizen, good guy. Nobody had anything bad to say about Tim Duncan.
Yep.
But he didn't move the needle. Aaron Judge can do that, Chris, and I think this year, with the 60 games and 67 days, if he can finally stay healthy, that's what's the rep. The Yankees have been to the playoffs. They've been to the ALCS. They haven't gotten to the World Series. But he's been hurt. He's missed 110 games the last 2 years. They need Aaron Judge.
At least 50 the last 2 years. Yeah.
Right, 50 or more.
Yep.
51 year and 60. So, to me, if Aaron Judge could have like an MVP-type season, bash those big home runs, help the Yankees get to the World Series and win a World Series, I think he would have a chance to grab the attention of the nation because he has all those things working.
Yeah, I think you make some really good points. It would be better, certainly, if he won the World Series, led the Yankees to the World Series, but I don't even think he has to do that. Obviously, number one, he has to stay healthy, and he has to have a tremendous year. If he could have, 25 homers, 20 or more homers in 60 games, then that would be huge. Even if they didn't win the World Series, that would go a long way in capturing fans' imaginations. I think I agree with you. I think he is the one guy. I mean, he was doing it before he got hurt.
That's what I'm saying.
2 years ago. There's no doubt about it. You were starting to see more commercials. He was a guy that we know could have played football, but he chose baseball.
He's 6'8".
Yeah,
he's a big guy.
He had it all.
And he was a part of when baseball players did the Black Lives Matter, Chris. He was one of the first faces you saw on the commercial.
Right. I do think, though, it's deeper than that. And I think baseball, and A-Rod talked about this. I didn't like his ultimate answer, which was, we're losing out to some of these other things because of the salary cap, which I thought, or the lack of a salary cap, which was ridiculous.
That just didn't work.
Yeah, but he is right in that nowadays versus the 60s, 70s, 80s, when baseball was really in its heyday during our lifetime, you didn't have as much competition for the eyeballs. Obviously, you've got the other sports, which have gotten, both football and basketball have become more popular than they used to be. You've got the internet. You got the social media. You got Netflix. You got Showtime. All the things A-Rod mentioned. And so people's attention spans are smaller. People used to sit around and listen to baseball games on the transistor radios. Or you'd sit there and watch a game for 3 hours.
You know how many nights as a kid growing up in New York, we would be out sitting on the porch, Chris, of somebody's house with the ball game in the background because every game wasn't on TV. We didn't grow up like that, right? And you would have the ball game on, but you would be hanging out with your friends and talk about the ball game would be on. No doubt.
No doubt. And so I think, Rob, what now draws a lot of people to sports, I mean, obviously they like the actual sports themselves, but are personalities. That was one of the geniuses of David Stern, is that he marketed individuals and obviously players with more, swag, as you called it, players with more flair, more style. Their games were fun to watch. They became the superstars that drove the popularity of the league, or some type of storyline. Larry Bird being a white superstar who was arguably the best player in the world. Magic being flashy out in L.A., like storylines. And so what I think baseball, Judge certainly would be one. But I think baseball, Shohei Ohtani, if he can play the whole season and pitch and hit, that's a storyline, right? That's something interesting. And I think baseball needs to market these individuals. Bryce Harper's talked about it. If he can have a great year, he can be a guy that he's already popular, but he's somebody people will tune in to watch just because of his personality.
And we saw Bryce Harper when he went to the Phillies. Remember, Chris, they sold 100,000 tickets in 24 hours, which is incredible. And his jersey outsold LeBron James's Laker jersey, which was amazing as well. Like for a guy to go to Philadelphia and sell that many jerseys. So Bryce Harper has that. He has the hair. He has the home run power.
Right. He's just got to play well.
But he's got to play well. Exactly. So there are guys, and here's the other part. We saw after 94 when baseball was down after the strike. What happened, Chris? What captured America's attention?
Oh, the home run.
The home runs between Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, if you remember, no matter where the game was on, I'm talking about the Cardinal game or the Cub game, ESPN used to break in. Do you remember?
And
show their at-bats.
Yeah, I was traveling for about a week with both of those guys, or one or the other,
right?
For the New York Times I believe that was during the lockout for the NBA, or maybe that was just but it might have been the lockout. 98 but I was covering for the New York Times. I was writing stories on those guys.
But that captured America's attention.
Yeah. Now that was 22 years ago, but
I'm just saying, but it can happen. That's what I'm saying.
And I think this too. And look, we've talked about this before. Black players in baseball. Look, if black players black American players either aren't good enough or just aren't playing as much, whatever, that's fine. I mean, it's not like I'm not for, we got to have, 15% of the league has to be black. Look, I just think everybody should have the opportunity. And so I do think, though, baseball would benefit if there were more African-American players, because obviously they've been some of the best players we've ever seen. They've brought some style, some flash. Not all of them. Everybody's different personality.
Right.
But obviously some, stolen bases. I'd love to see some of that brought back. And obviously some white guys steal bases, but not like Lou Brock and Ricky Henderson. And I know it's different. Would they even do that today? But I think things like that would be great for the game. And Rob, the demographics, we have to remember, while the country is 70% white, 72%, the younger people, now 15 years and under, it's less than 50% white. So the millennials are like 55% white. Gen Z, which is 21 and over, is 51% white. There are more people, more Asians, more African Americans who are about 13% of the population.
And
Hispanics,
Hispanics, their population is
about
doubled.
25%. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's huge.
The game, the more diversity you have, and obviously you got tons of Hispanics in the league, and a lot of them bring. I think baseball's got to let these dudes, as they are now, bat flip. Let them show their personal style.
See, this is
let
where
that stuff happen.
This is where I think baseball, as time goes on, Chris, because of the booming Hispanic population, and soccer and baseball will have a resurgence as that Hispanic population continues to grow because of how entrenched they are in those sports, not in the NFL and not in the NBA. But baseball has a chance. But I think Aaron Judge, this is your year. Yeah, soccer, because that's
I've been hearing soccer was going to
Nah,
have a
but I'm
surge.
talking about
You said resurgence.
No, I'm talking about
when was the surge in America?
No, I'm talking about, well, there's more leagues on and stuff now in the MLS. It's a viable league. It's been around for a while.
I mean, they're gonna have their leagues, but I mean, it's never captured the
but I'm talking about with the population,
the American nation.
When the Hispanics take over as the number one group, it'll be interesting to see what their habits are.
I also think, Rob, in baseball in particular, a lot of the Hispanics speak Spanish mainly. It may not be as comfortable yet with the English language over here. So that can stifle your personality and, your ability to maybe be as colorful, as funny as you normally would be. And I think it's more, the Hispanics are here more that speak English, when they're able to show their true personality because they may be more comfortable with the language or they grew up here. I think that'll help the sport as well. Because you need personalities. You need storylines today because of so many things pulling at your attention. All right, 877